Sage here, and I want to talk with you today about how you can stop avoiding things that make you uncomfortable. We all have stuff that makes us uncomfortable, okay? It could be a person, it could be bills or debt, it could be talking in front of people, it could be, oh my gosh, a whole slew of things. So first and foremost, let's look at why we avoid stuff that is uncomfortable. Well, we avoid it because it's uncomfortable. We don't like it. We feel usually triggered in some way, and so what that does in our old school primal part of our brain, it triggers that safety mechanism of, oh my gosh, this is uncomfortable, I don't like this, so therefore I need to try to keep myself safe. And so when you keep yourself safe, you usually retreat, you usually pull back from whatever it is that's making you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. But in our society that we have now, that's usually not a saber-toothed tiger. It's usually not something that's going to be life-threatening. Sometimes it is, but usually what I'm referring to is just the normal everyday stuff. So it's that triggering of your safety mechanisms. So how can you, well actually, why we do this, again, because we feel that we want to stay within our safety net and our comfort zone. But also, it's because a lot of us have been trained to not ruffle feathers. And so what does ruffle feathers mean? Well, ruffle feathers is basically say something that might upset someone else. Or also that might upset ourselves, you know. And so look at any one of these things that you have been avoiding to do and ask yourself, is it externally driven or internally driven? Meaning, do I not want to ruffle feathers, or do I not want to take that personal responsibility and feel uncomfortable but then just do it anyway? So really ask yourself this. First, recognize what you're doing, okay, and why you're doing it. And that why is usually externally driven or internally driven. Now, what happens in your life when you do this, when you avoid things that make you uncomfortable, is you put yourself further and further into a box. Let's just say that you're in a relationship. And at the beginning of the relationship, it was fabulous, it was perfect, you know, you could talk about anything with this person. And then one time you said one thing that ruffled the feathers of the person that you're with, and they snapped at you, or maybe they were having a bad day. And so they said something that caused you to think, oh, maybe it's not safe for me to talk about this with my partner. So then the next time that you talk about something similar, you start to censor yourself. You start to soften the meaning, or just not even talk about it at all. So then what you're doing is you're starting to censor your relationship with this person and not truly speak your truth and start to avoid certain conversations. I can't tell you how many times I get people calling me for sessions talking with me about things that they should be talking with their partner about. And when I say, well, have you brought this up with your partner? No, I'm afraid to. And I'm like, why are you in partnership with that person if you can't talk to them? You know? And, well, I'm going to upset them. Let them be upset. Who cares? I mean, unless you're in physical danger, if they get pissed and they're just like, ugh, and they take it personally, good. Then that means there's something that can be worked on. I mean, don't be a jerk about it, but still, you know, if you're in a relationship and you can't speak with that person about everything without feeling like you have to censor yourself, I would really challenge you to say, okay, why am I in the relationship with this person? Really? And so anyway, so we do this throughout our life. And the relationship example, it really just makes it super uber clear. And that's what it is in all these other relationships that we have and all these other situations that we have, is we start to feel uncomfortable. So then we start to censor what we do. We start to censor how we do it. We start to even censor whether or not we do it at all. And so how we can now move past avoiding to actually doing the things that we know that we need to or want to do because we're tired of feeling uncomfortable, first and foremost is just say, okay, what am I avoiding? And call yourself out on it. I'm avoiding talking with this person. I'm avoiding doing my checkbook, or I'm avoiding, cutting out carbs after 3 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. And ask myself, okay, why am I avoiding this? Why am I choosing to censor who I am and giving the world a censored version of myself? I'm kind of half-assing it if I'm doing it this way, right? So figure out first what you're doing, what you're avoiding, why you're avoiding it. And again, this will show you if it's an external factor or an internal factor. And then you can ask yourself, okay, so what's the worst that could happen if I actually go there? If I actually do this thing, what's the worst that can happen? I'll tell you, one time I had, one of my clients, she was totally terrified about getting fired. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go there. What if you do get fired? And she's like, oh, I don't want to go there. I'm like, no, we're going there. And she's like, well, if I do get fired, this is what my husband's going to say. This is, some financial ramifications that are going to happen. This is this. And I'm like, all right, and she laid it all out. So she's like, if I get fired, this is what's going to happen. I'm like, okay, so how can you work with that situation? And then we picked it apart. We looked at her finances. Okay, so what are simple solutions that you can do in your finances if you get fired? Okay, so how can you approach your husband if you get fired? And then we looked at some other scenarios. And I'm just like, okay, so what if you don't get fired? And she's like, oh, okay. And then so we went through that whole scenario. A couple months later, she got fired. And she's like, oh my God, this is totally not a bad thing. And she's like, I'm so glad that we went there. And that's the thing, is that so many people avoid even going in their mind there where you actually feel uncomfortable and you actually ruffle feathers and you actually do the thing that you want to do. We go there. And then you pick it apart. You give yourself permission to look at all the different scenarios, all the bullshit. And again, this is all bullshit excuses that we're giving ourselves of something may or may not happening in the future if you choose to do something in a specific way. So first you figure out what you're avoiding, why you're avoiding it, and then you go there and you say, okay, if I actually do this thing that I've been avoiding, what's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Now you're prepared for anything that could happen, okay? So and I encourage you to just go there in your mind, go there on paper, write it out, face your fears before you actually do it, all right? And then what happens is you take the power out of the fear. You take the power out of that avoidance. If you are trying to talk with your partner about something and it's really freaking uncomfortable, then you can say that from the get-go. Hey, so-and-so, so I want to talk with you about something and I feel very uncomfortable and vulnerable sharing this with you. So I've written it out and I'm going to speak it out loud to you. There you go, okay? And so you can do it that way, or you don't have to write it out. You can just say, hey, I want to talk with you about something. I feel however you feel, and then just share it. Most people won't take that to their advantage. Most people, if you say that you feel fearful or vulnerable or scared to share something, most people will honor that vulnerability. Some people are jerks about it and will just poke fun, or some people will choose to use that to their advantage. If that's the case, you really don't want to be in partnership with those type of people anyway. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it is a situation where you're not actually directly working with someone else or avoiding someone else, if it's just, say, your checkbook, okay? Because that's a big one that a lot of people come to me with, is they're just like, I've got this financial stuff, and I need to figure out what the block is and why I can't get out of debt and yada yada. And so the worst case scenario, if you're in debt, is usually where you're at right now. So you are looking and living in your worst case scenario. So what is better than where you're at? Some people may say, no, worst case scenario is bankruptcy or getting even further in debt and yada yada. Okay, sure. But when you avoid your finances, they're just going to get worse. They're just going to get worse. And so one of the ways that you can tackle your finances is open the damn checkbook. Open up your bank account online and look at where you're at. Get all your stuff together and actually, walk you through this step by step in the Shift Your Money Mindset program that I have inside the Mastermind Mafia. And you just pull everything out and you say, okay, and you lay it all out and you say, this is where I'm at today. This is what's going on. And then you notice it and you're just like, all right, cool. Okay, so where can I go from here? And start to take action. Start to take that next step forward. And I gotta tell you, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're not sharing your truth with them, you're manipulating the situation. If you're in a partnership with your spouse or whatever, and they do something that just rubs you the wrong way, that they think is absolutely okay, and you are just not okay with it, and you don't say anything, you are manipulating that person. You're manipulating them into thinking that everything is okay. That's exactly the same as somebody overtly manipulating you, say, you will do this or else. It's the same exact thing. You're just doing it in a very covert way. So that was something that I learned like years ago when I started working through my codependency issues, is I was just like, oh my God, because I hate manipulation. I'm just like, that's a bunch of bullshit. But I was one of those people that didn't want to ruffle feathers. And so I didn't say things, and I realized that is exactly the same type of manipulation that goes on with other people who actually do it in a very overt way or very open way. So really look at, and I know that this is a big topic that we're covering today, but I really want you to just be honest with yourself and say, what am I avoiding? Am I avoiding losing weight? Am I avoiding going to the doctor? Am I avoiding my finances and my debt responsibilities? Am I avoiding having a challenging conversation with somebody, or just so you don't have to put out there that it's going to be challenging. You can just say, am I avoiding having this conversation with someone? Am I avoiding doing an action or doing something that I know is going to catapult my business that next step further that I really want to go? So really be honest with yourself and say, what am I avoiding? Why am I avoiding it? What's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? And then start to take actions. And if you're not quite sure what actions to take, Google it. Seriously, you can find everything on Google or Yahoo or wherever you want to search. But go online and ask your tribe, ask your people, ask your friends, ask your family. Hey, I want to learn about finances, or I want to learn about good communication. Have you read a good book? Do you know a therapist? Do you know a counselor? Do you know a coach? Whatever. Ask around. I truly am part of the mentality and believe in it truly takes a village. It truly takes a village, and we are that village. All of us here that watch my videos, that are in the Mastermind Mafia, that are in the High Vibe Tribe, we all can lean on each other for support. And that's the thing, is that when you recognize that you don't have to do this on your own, when you truly can say, you know what, I have no freaking clue how to do this. And I admit that. All right, so I'm going to ask around and see if there's other people who know how to solve this problem that I have. So many people say, I just can't figure out how to do this. Okay, because you're trying to do it yourself and you have no experience. Find somebody that knows how to do this. Like I said, you could Google it, read a book, listen to an audiobook, listen to a program, enroll in a class, hire a coach, ask your friends and family member. There's a reason why apprenticeships and mentees are a thing, is because when you have a mentor and someone who's been there, done that, what they do is they shorten the time frame for you to learn whatever it is that you want to learn. And this is how this is how magic happens in your life. And this is how you can start to avoiding things. But this is how you can learn to stop avoiding certain things in your life, well, hopefully everything, and just do it. If you see, like, some of the most successful people in the world, They don't hesitate. They're just like, all right, cool. They do it because they know any choice they make is the perfect choice, because then and only then will they see the result of the choice that they've made. And then from that result, they can say, okay, that is exactly what I intended to happen, or not so much. I didn't really anticipate this, so let me try something else. And then let me try something else. They know that failure is not failure. It's just a stepping stone in realizing what actually works and what doesn't work. And if the results that you're getting don't match what you really want, try something else. Try something else. And that's another reason why a lot of people avoid stuff, is because they're afraid of failure. Well, if you're not taking action and you're keeping yourself where you are, you're failing already. That is a form of failure, is failing to act and failing to take that step forward. So today I challenge you to sit down, grab a piece of paper or a notebook, write out all the crap that you're avoiding in your life, okay? Why you're avoiding it. You don't want to ruffle feathers, you don't want to feel uncomfortable, you don't want to look like an ass, whatever, okay? Why you're avoiding it. Or you could just say, because it scares the shit out of me. You can be, literally be honest, okay? And then ask yourself, okay, what's the worst that could happen? I want you to go there, okay? What's the worst that could happen if I do this? Bam, okay? What's the best that could happen if I do this? Bam. So you're covering the whole spectrum of what might happen. Now, if you feel that your safety is in jeopardy, take precautions. If you do broach the subject, have somebody there with you if you feel that you could be in physical danger, okay? Use your head about it, all right? But, so once you worst case, best case scenario it, okay, then ask yourself, first and foremost, do I know what the hell I'm doing? And do I know what the next step is? Most of us will say, yeah, I need to hire a financial advisor, or I need to go see a therapist, or I need to hire a coach, or I need to do this, or whatever. If that's outside of your budget, like I said, Google it. How can I do this? How can I get out of debt? How can I have a healthy relationship? How can I lose 50 pounds? How can I start to climb, Mount Everest? Or how can I start training for a marathon? Whatever it is that you want to do. Google it, seriously. And then also ask your friends and family members, ask your tribe mates, ask your soul sisters, whatever it is, ask. So many people also are afraid to ask for help. We're not meant to do this alone, okay? We are not meant to do this alone. So get out there today. What are you avoiding? Why are you avoiding it? Go there to the worst case and best case scenario, and then ask yourself, okay, so it's one step that I can do today to start to get to where I want to go and to not avoid the situation anymore. It might be pick up the phone and have a conversation, okay? It might be opening your checkbook and figuring out where exactly you stand and maybe shredding your credit cards. Who knows? But whatever it is, give yourself permission to take that step, because by you not taking the step, you are failing. You are choosing the easy way out. And it's actually not really easy, because is it really easy staying in this space? Is it really easy feeling this uncomfortable? It's usually much easier to just speak your truth, because then what happens is you have this huge weight lifting off your shoulders and you're like, I can breathe again. Yes. And then that way everybody's on the same page. So I challenge you to do this today. And again, if you feel that you have resources at your fingertips and you have resources at your fingertips and you are scared to take that step forward, find a buddy that can walk that step with you, okay? Find someone who you can share this with and say, I need somebody that will hold me accountable for fill in the blank. Talking with your partner, getting out of debt, losing 50 pounds, whatever it is. Cutting up my, credit cards. Going and booking that speaking gig that you've been wanting to book. Whatever it is that you really have been avoiding, that you really know, that is the next step for you. Bring somebody into your realm and say, I need you to hold me accountable. And then you can also hold them accountable for something as well. So if you want a whole group of people that are already doing this, who are already looking at their shit, looking at the bullshit excuses that we've been making. I mean, this is part of living. We make bullshit excuses that keep us where we're stuck. So if you want to be part of a group of people who are already looking at their bullshit, calling themselves out on their bullshit, and asking for help, even if your voice shakes, even if you're crying when you're asking for help, but asking for help nonetheless, okay? And are really willing to do what it takes to get themselves to the next level. If that is you, if you are ready to be part of a group of people like this, click the link below and I want you to join the Mastermind Mafia. We have a $10 sneak peek. What the sneak peek is, it's a 15-day trial of the Mastermind Mafia. This is where you will be part of a group of people who are doing this. You will be part of a group of people who are killing it. I mean, they are just rocking it in their lives. We have people that are working in their own businesses. We have people that are working on their personal development, on their spiritual development. And they're saying, this is the bullshit that I'm dealing with. And all of us come together every single day inside of our Facebook group and we support each other. We give each other tips and tricks and tools and resources. And that's the thing, is that when you have a group of people that care about you, all of a sudden you don't only have your resources, you have all the other resources that everyone else in the group has at your back. And you're just like, hey, here, this is what I have to offer. And it's so amazing. And you get lifted up just as you lift up other people in the group. So if you are even curious about what this feels like to be part of a group like this, like I said, click the link below, the Mastermind Mafia $10 15-day sneak peek. It's really freaking epic. Plus, you also get me as your personal coach for your spiritual and personal development, as well as business development as well, if you have your own business. So please don't hesitate. This is a short life, okay? It's fleeting. And you are not meant to be stuck in the bullshit. You are not meant to be stuck in fear and in overwhelm and in going, ugh, I can't do that. And you're just avoiding all these situations. No, that's bullshit. You are meant to be the main character in your movie, okay? You are meant to be that fullest version of yourself possible, who, yeah, might feel the freaking fear, but say, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway because I know being where I'm at does not feel good. And what happens is when you feel that fear inside the Mastermind Mafia, share it with us. Okay, peeps, this is what I'm doing. I'm scared shitless. I need some words of wisdom, okay? I need some help. And what you do is you just ask for the help, and we will give you all the resources and tools that we have to help you move through whatever it is that you're going through. So if you want that type of support, click the link below and join us, all right? Okay, I hope you have a really, really fabulous rest of your day. Mwah! Bye-bye.